You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Finally, they may have a solution to the coal piles on prime waterfront real estate in downtown Green Bay. A joint statement from C. Rice, the owner of the coal, and Brown County, says entities have reached a tentative agreement that is being put in writing. The Brown County Board of Supervisors will vote on the agreement in a special meeting Thursday at 7 p.m. The deal comes just in time, as the state of Wisconsin had placed a deadline of Tuesday evening to reach a deal or risk losing a state grant of $15 million to expand port operations in the area. The coal piles have been on that riverfront property for 125 years. Talks of relocation have been going on for decades. A 12-year-old boy died in Florence County Monday evening after a teen driver struck him. Deputies say the 16-year-old driver hit the boy who was riding his bicycle, then hit a power pole, causing a power outage in the area. Deputies suspect speed, driver inexperience, and operating while impaired to be factors in the crash. At the Capitol, the clock is running on the next 2-year state budget. Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Republican legislative leaders have met twice so far. The two sides are attempting to reach a consensus on tax cuts while the Joint Finance Committee works on the budget. If lawmakers don't pass a new budget by the end of June, current spending levels will continue. A drawn-out impasse into the late summer or fall would not be welcomed by Wisconsin's local governments or school districts, who need to know what their shared revenue and general school aid payments will be for their own budget planning. The last time that happened was in 2007, when then-Governor Jim Doyle and Republican lawmakers finally reached a compromise in October. Democratic lawmakers announced a set of bills on gun safety Tuesday. These bills would institute a universal background check, reinstate a 48-hour waiting period for purchases, and add red flag laws. From 2014 to 2023, the gun death rate increased in the state of Wisconsin 54%. That's compared to a 34% increase nationwide during the same period. During that time frame, Republicans had eliminated a 48-hour waiting period to buy handguns that had been on the books for 4 decades. See the story on our website for an in-depth report and links to the bills. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson is calling for the state to lift its vaccine requirements for kids attending school or child care programs. During an event in Milwaukee last week, Senator Johnson said he believed that some childhood illnesses, like measles, have been eradicated through better hygiene and sanitation, not just the vaccine. The comments also come as measles outbreaks continue to pop up across the country, with over 1,000 confirmed cases in 31 states. Kids are required to receive the vaccine under state law in order to attend school or child care programs. October 27th is the trial date set for Taylor Shabusiness, who faces charges of assaulting a Tachita Correctional Institution staff member. Shabusiness is currently serving life in prison for the murder and dismemberment of Shad Therian in Green Bay. She was brought into the courtroom Tuesday strapped to a chair with her hands and feet bound and surrounded by 4 officers. While appearing in court back on April 4th, Shabusiness attacked her attorney before being restrained by deputies. That was the second time that Shabusiness had attacked an attorney. She also attacked a different attorney during a hearing for her murder case. This is a story we've been following for a while. The National Weather Service is facing severe staffing shortages. None of its Wisconsin offices currently has a chief meteorologist on staff. Savannah Tomei-Olson has the latest.
Earlier this year, Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency cut or offered an approved early retirement to more than 500 employees of the National Weather Service, which monitors our severe weather, issues warnings, and surveys emergencies. And now 30 NWS offices across the nation are without a chief meteorologist, including all of the ones here in Wisconsin. The state is covered by 5 NWS posts. Green Bay, Milwaukee, and La Crosse are based here, and then northwestern Wisconsin is covered by 2 offices in Minnesota. But neither Green Bay nor Milwaukee nor La Crosse have a chief meteorologist in charge right now. The Green Bay office had been launching weather balloons twice a day for about 80 years. Those balloons go up and collect data that can help create more accurate forecasts. Because of cuts from the Trump administration, the Green Bay Post had to cut half their launches, and now they only do 1 per day. At least 6 offices in the country have had to suspend all overnight operations, meaning they're not properly staffed if there's any sort of severe weather event overnight. Now, according to reporting from CNN, the National Weather Service is about to hire about 125 new meteorologists and specialists. It's the start of hurricane season, which is expected to be more active than normal. And here at home, it's severe weather season. We've already had 22 tornadoes hit Wisconsin in 2025. On average, we usually only get 23 in a whole year. And June is the peak month for tornado activity here in Wisconsin. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
DOT officials are once again trying to find alternatives to crossing the Mississippi River in western Wisconsin due to a bridge closure. Civic Media's Jimmy Kuska has more.
With the Black Hawk Bridge that connects Wisconsin to Iowa closed indefinitely, DOT officials in Iowa and Wisconsin announced free water taxi services will begin on June 4th. Otherwise, people can cross the Mississippi River at La Crosse or Prairie du Chien. The 94-year-old bridge was closed on May 17th after a pier moved. Last year, the bridge was closed for nearly 2 months for emergency repairs. The DOT said it hasn't finalized any repair or reopening plans for the old bridge. A replacement bridge is scheduled to open in 2027.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Brewers lose to the Reds. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Last night, top of the 9th, the Brewers down 4-2. It looked like Milwaukee's Jake Bauers had just hit a 2-run homer to center field to tie up the game on the Reds FanDuel network.
Center field, Friedel at the wall.
Jake Bauers asked if he thought he'd hit that ball hard enough to get it out of the park.
I got it a touch off the end. I knew it was going to be close. And then once I saw it coming down, I knew that was probably a wrap.
So the Brewers' 8-game winning streak comes to an end. They finished the series today. NFL at the OTAs, the Packers drafted running back Marshawn Lloyd in the 3rd round last year, but he's been limited again, this time with a hamstring injury.
We have a feel for what he is certainly capable. I mean, we've seen enough. He's an explosive player, but he's got to prove it over the course of time.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur with Sports on Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. If you're boarding a flight anytime soon, make sure you are not in possession of fancy sunflower seeds. Grey's Anatomy star Ellen Pompeo was stopped by the TSA, who found sunflower seeds in her carry-on. They actually set off the alarm. Pompeo said they brought in the bomb squad to get to the bottom of the sunflower seed melee. The New York Post reports that the old school actress said they were designer and organic sunflower seeds. I am fully aware that nothing about that story makes sense. Jason Sudeikis has recently spoken up about the death of his uncle, George Wendt. Wendt, who played Norm on Cheers for 11 years, died in his sleep on May 20th at the age of 67. Sudeikis said the advice his uncle gave him was to get on a great show and ride it out and see what happens. Sudeikis took his advice and ended up having an 8-year run on Saturday Night Live and, of course, the wildly popular Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis described Wendt as fun and as kind in real life as any character he played on TV. The King of the Hill actor who provided the voice for character John Redcorn has been killed in a shooting. TMZ reports that Jonathan Joss was found at the side of a road, shot several times. First responders tried life-saving measures, but pronounced him dead at the scene. Sources say Joss was shot by a neighbor after a disagreement. Police did track down the shooter within a few minutes. Joss played Redcorn from season 2 to season 13 of the hit animated show. Jonathan Joss was 59 years old. The Penguin's secret crush is no longer a secret. Danny DeVito had a good old-fashioned showbiz crush on Catwoman. The Twins star said when he was in Batman Returns, he had the hots for co-star Michelle Pfeiffer. DeVito sat down with Colin Farrell, also known for his role as the Penguin, on Variety's Actors on Actors podcast, where the two traded Batman stories. DeVito said Pfeiffer was his secret crush. DeVito says he lusted after her and loved her. Lucky girl. As usual, director Christopher Nolan's new project is ambitious, to say the least. The Inception director is currently shooting his latest project, Odyssey, in Morocco, Greece, and Scotland, just to name a few locations. Nolan loves to take cinematic chances as well, as evidenced by his breakthrough film Memento. In In keeping with the tradition, he is the first to shoot a movie entirely using IMAX cameras. Nolan used the cameras during parts of his film The Dark Knight and used IMAX black and white 65mm film during parts of Oppenheimer. Shooting an entire film on 65mm IMAX will be groundbreaking. Recently at Comic-Con, Universal Studios distribution chief made a prediction that The Odyssey will be a, quote, a visionary, once-in-a-generation cinematic masterpiece that Homer himself would likely be proud of, end quote. Cannot wait to see how this turns out. The Odyssey is expected to hit theaters July 27th, 2026. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We are going to be dealing with more of that smoky haze from Canadian wildfires today. Clouds this morning. The sun will try to get through that haze this afternoon, 77. The smoke will let up tonight, and we'll get a break from that for a couple of days. 54 tonight, partly cloudy, 80 our high tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it is 60.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.